Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We're about halfway through, so on the latter half of things. Kicking these off, we've got Gold Goblin #1. So recently in Amazing Spider-Man, while Spider-Man was facing off against two hobgoblins, Peter Parker's boss, Norman Osborn, yes, that Norman Osborn, who was developing a new suit of armor for Spidey, took said suit of armor and put it on and saved Peter from the hobgoblins. Going against his, though he's still trying to stay off of a glider. He desperately wants to ride one, but, he's worried that the Goblin persona may come back up to the surface. So, Norman is trying to deal with, is trying to put his past behind him. During the Sin Eater story in, the recent Sin Eater story, in Amazing Spider-Man, he's trying to, his sins have been wiped away, so he's trying, he doesn't want to, have new ones, basically. But, so he spends time with his grandson, Norman, and admittedly does give him some conflicting advice. They're at a batting cage, and, he says, you gotta play to win, because why else play? They're like, no, but you know what, just hit the ball, have fun. But he's feeling empty inside. And he's been trying to fill that gaping hole where his sins were, basically, with good things, but we can't help but remember the bad things. But the next day, the Bugle has a headline about Osborn being revealed as the Gold Goblin, and he explains he's trying to. He says he tells Peter that he's trying. He's not gonna let it get. He's trying to do good, and Peter's willing to believe him. But admittedly, Osborn's a little perturbed about the fact that the papers refer to him as the Gold Goblin because, well, he wants to put the Goblin behind him. He has a hallucination of fighting his son in the classic Green Goblin look. Then he goes to meet with someone and on his way down in the elevator, he has a hallucination of Gwen. But Osborn suits up as the Gold Goblin, and it turns out he's going after Jack-o'-lantern. Jack-o'-lantern, as it turns out, is selling skeletons on the black market. Sometimes he'll, rob a grave and take a skeleton. And on rare occasions, he'll kill someone and skin them, and sell their skeleton. But Osborn says he's a team of mercenaries to deal with him. However, the idea is he's supposed to lead the way, but he's having issues. But when the mercenaries attack, Jack-o'-lantern gets the better of him, and so Osborn goes after himself and takes him down. And he manages to beat Jack-o'-lantern. And some kids show up and actually ask for his autograph. And he flies off. Now, this miniseries is tying into the upcoming crossover Dark Web, and will feature Queen Goblin, who was a recipient of Norman Osborn's sins, facing off against the Gold Goblin. So let's see how the whole thing plays out. But good start. I'm not sure yet how I feel about Osborn trying to become a heroic character, but I'm willing to give it a chance. Moving on to our next book, we've got Namor, the Submariner, Conquered Shores, number 2. Where we left off, in a possible future, the Earth is pretty much flooded. All the superheroes went off into space and mostly were killed. Mutants, however, on the other hand, went off into space and just, left Earth behind. But Namor has stepped down as king and is trying to be and as one of his friends, as it were, is among the superheroes that stuck around, Captain America. Namor's kind of sort of acting as a bridge between the human survivors and Atlantis. And he's recently seen what appears to be the original Human Torch flying in the sky. Namor goes to investigate. He then tells Steve Rogers as well as Luke Cage, both leaders of the human survivors, what he's seen, and that and they come to think that maybe Jim Hammond could actually turn things around for the human survivors that are living underwater. Cage opts to go with Namor to investigate, though apparently Atlantis appears to be on the brink of war against the warlord Krang. So, but Cage and Namor take his personal sailing vessel, and their first stop is the Baxter Building. Using Atlantean technology, Namor is able to activate and his knowledge of Reed Richards' passwords. Namor turns on some of their systems, namely their computer, see what information that Reed Richards had on Phineas Horton's research. He also flashes back to the last time he saw Sue Storm. She was asking him to accompany the rest of the heroes to take on the Kree. But his reminiscences are interrupted by the arrival of Machine Man, Aaron Stack, who is talking about how the machines will be planning to take over the world, led by Jim Hammond. This does change Namor's opinion, meaning that though Namor still intends to find Jim Hammond and potentially see if he can save the human settlement, the underwater human settlement, well, he's not going to exactly consider it a downside if he gets to kill Jim Hammond out of the whole thing. So, and that is where the issue ends. I'm enjoying this series so far. Probably one of the bleaker futures that I've seen. One of the bleaker possible futures, not bleakest by any means. You actually kind of have the market corner on bleak possible futures. It's just a fact. But yeah. Moving on to our next book, though, we've got Thunderbolts number 4. Where we left off, yeah, the Thunderbolts have been having a string of victories that one could look at it and say aren't really victories. stumbling into a win. So we open with seeing an advertisement for Enticement, a perfume being promoted by Persuasion and Egro. They're appearing on a late night talk show, and some of the Thunderbolts merch is being showed off. And Clint, while that's going on, is getting up in the morning and after having spent the night with his ex-wife, Bobby Morse. His phone rings, however, apparently, and the Thunderbolts rush out to take care of the Melter and Whirlwind, though everyone's wearing different costumes. Power Man is wearing Luke Cage's old yellow silk shirt and blue jeans with the chain belt and the tiara and all that. Monica Rambeau's wearing her classic white costume. Hawkeye's in his original costume, and Guts and Glory looks like he didn't just raid Cable's armory, but also Cable's wardrobe. Miss America is wearing the costume of the World War II era hero Miss America, and for some reason Luke Cage is wearing his 90s outfit. Persuasion has shorter hair and a more 90s-esque outfit. Egro is, well, Egro. Clint gives a press conference, and then the UFO shows up. And the being that comes out of it devastates New York and also seemingly destroys the Thunderbolts. Squashing Power Man, stomping on Egro and Persuasion, pretty much disintegrating Photon and Miss America. Well, no, not disintegrating, but definitely killing them. Elsewhere, Power Man has been waiting on paramedics for Miss America, who lost consciousness on the subway. And the team's liaison with the mayor's office is trying to get a hold of anybody, but no one's picking up. She makes it to Hawkeye's apartment and finds him on his bed with his phone out. Well, the phone is off to the side, but it's out. And he's on his bed, not exactly laying down, but eyes kind of glazed up. Clearly under the spell of something. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting. There hasn't been a villain set up yet that I could think of as being able to do to cause hallucinations such as that. So it would be nice if Bobby showed up in the issue, but well, we'll see what happens there. Moving on, or the next issue, we'll see what happens there. Moving on to our next book, we've got Something Is Killing the Children, number 26. Where we left off, the Doppeltype had, and Erica had faced off against the other, and Erica got pretty badly hurt. Erica comes to, her wound's patched up, and Ricky asking her what the hell's going on. And Erica's trying to, not say what's going on, but at the same time say it. Explaining, yes, it's monsters, and, that's what attacked her. But apparently, Shit and Fan have met. Gabby's in the other room with her cousin and her grandmother. She's bored playing War, so her cousin goes to get TV and Xbox. Erica and her familiar have a chat about things with her familiar saying, that Cutter woman, she's coming, and yeah, you need to, if you want to survive her, you're gonna have to heal up. During all this, Gabby peeks in, overhearing parts of the conversation between the two. Ricky goes to close the bar for a few days, but the sheriff calls her because, well, he's at a murder scene, and security camera footage shows Ricky leaving with Erica being covered in blood. But Cutter shows up to talk to the sheriff, kissing at his ass pretty well. Kisses, make a show of thinking highly of him, and then make it easy, make it easier to just say, hey, yeah, we're so when she takes Erica, no, he won't bat an eye, and so, Cutter tells the sheriff that he's looking for Erica, and that is where the issue ends. Things are heating up. This has been just honestly is a consistently good book. So yeah. Moving on to our next book, we've got DC vs. Vampires All Out War, number 6. Where we left off, the mission was pretty much a failure. Azrael betrayed the rest of the team that went into snag Mirror Master, allowing himself to be turned to silence the voice of the brainwashing, the system that the Order of St. Dumas did to him. We also learned that Mary Marvel is in fact a vampire in her mortal form. So the team are headed to Central City, and we discover that while yes, Azrael did kill Weather Wizard, the system managed to win out, and he went after the rest of the vampires, giving Slade and crew time to escape. So in Central City, they go to the Flash Museum. It turns out that there's a Lazarus pit hidden underneath the Flash symbol in the Flash Museum, and they toss Weather Wizard inside, hoping that'll cure him of vampirism, and 2, he'll come back. Well, he got 1 out of 2. He came back. Still a vampire, though. He puts the bite on Slade, and then Mary kills him again. Mary also cauterizes Slade's neck wound, and utilizes Azrael's sword, explaining that she has faith in Deathstroke. But the team continue on through Central City. It's snowing for some reason, when Billy Batson shows up, and him and Mary says she has to deal with Billy herself. And while Booster Gold, Deathstroke, and Midnighter continue on to figure out where the snow is coming from. But Mary is able to at least to a degree, take down Billy. And when they're both in their mortal forms, she puts the bite on him. They find the source of the snow, Captain Cold, seemingly frozen in a block of ice. That is what the source of the snow. But Mary shows up in her mortal form, explaining that she's done something real bad, and she needs Slade and company to kill her. We got a backup story focusing on Jack Hawksmoor, who's in an odd place with the cities being seemingly dead, but at the same time taken over by vampires. His powers can't decide if that affects him negatively or positively. And we learn that Caitlin Fairchild's been turned. As has Jenny Sparks. But Jenny is in fact who Hawksmoor was after. And Apollo takes her down by reappearing and basically hitting her with the sunlight he's absorbed. Which also does the whole thing with Jack's powers. The sunlight also affects him, but not as much. So it turns out that Jenny was hiding a child who Jack takes and kind of confirms him that, you know, okay, maybe things aren't out for humanity, and maybe even Jenny knew that, which is why she was hiding the kid, whom he refers to as Jenny. And that is where the issue ends. I've been loving the DC vs. Vampire stuff. I really have. I think this wraps up the All Out War miniseries, though I could be mistaken. Moving on to our last book for the week, or for a moment, we've got DCeased War of the Undead Gods #4. Where we left off, things were looking dire. Anti-life was spreading. Darkseid had taken over the Sinestro Corps, even. Or Undead Darkseid had taken over the Sinestro Corps. And of all people to be on the side of the heroes was Brainiac. However, Ares came with a dire warning. Came to the Themyscira with a dire warning. So we open with Alfred remembering, killing the Bat family. And this is something that something that's going to haunt him for probably likely the rest of his days. But he and his girlfriend Leslie Tompkins Leslie talks to him about it, and in an effort to help him move past it. When Damien arrives to say, "Hey, we're heading out to Oa," but he's quite happy about, and he tells them he's happy as can be about Alfred and Leslie. Alfred asks Damien to stay, but, Damien got to wish with his father in him. But then he has another request. He wants to go with the heroes. But it doesn't seem that that's going to be okay. That's going to be allowed, so... On Almerac, Maxima evacuates the planet, and then her and her lover deal with the Anti-Life Forever people and Darkseid. And Supergirl, I should add as well. On Oa, the heroes discuss what to do, but the Guardian is like, yeah, no. We're just going to wipe out Anti-Life. We can't, yeah, cure's great and all, that's good, but no, we can't. We can't risk missing anyone. But a fight breaks out between the two groups, starting with Superman punching Ganthet in the face. And Ares watches with glee as he turns into all-out slugfest, but Damien knows something's off and finds Ares. but he isn't working alone. He's got Misc working with him as well. Apparently, though, Misc has decided to step in because, well, the Owens have Superman. And that is where the issue ends. Yep. And that is going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.